So today we'll be talking about the Amazon Mechanical Turks. In a standard business model, you have your executives at the top of the business food chain, the ones who are making the decisions and have the final say over movements in the company. Below them, you have normal full-time employees. These employees normally have benefits and normally have a set schedule and a set pay grade, giving them rigidity in their life. Some companies have started using a marketplace that Amazon has set up, called the Amazon Turks, where contractors and business people and businesses can meet, and businesses who want to outsource their labor or outsource their work are able to do so to those laborers. And this system has benefits and drawbacks. For the Turks, it has benefits since they're able to work from home and choose their own schedule. It could also act as supplementary income. For the business, this is extremely efficient because they're able to use a large amount of workers over a shorter amount of time to get the same amount of work done, whereas if you were to hire full-time employees, they would have to be paid more and it would take a longer amount of time to complete the whole process. So it's way more efficient for the business. But there are also downsides for the workers. They have no set schedule. They are not guaranteed that they'll be able to continue to work for this company. They really work day to day and are out of luck if there's no more work left to do. And the Turks came about as a process of rationalization. The executives of the business don't care necessarily how the employee's well-being is. They care about making the most efficient and best product for their company. And so that's why they outsource the labor like this. Now, Irani says that this is kind of ironic because a lot of the executives of these countries are praised as innovators, when in reality they're just running large data processing centers and hiding their labors. Another interesting part about the Amazon Turks that relates to our class is that the normal employees, if they wanted to unionize, they could. They see each other all the time, and then they could come together and talk to their bosses and try to demand better pay or better benefits. But the Turks, they're isolated. They don't know each other and sometimes don't even know a specific person who they're working for. So they would never be able to unionize. In this way, the Turks are similar to the oil miners in carbon democracy, and the normal workers are similar to the coal miners in carbon democracy. So this system stays intact, where the executives are praised and the Turks really have no power.
Expanding on the idea of Amazon Mechanical Turks, Alec Feldsteiner wrote an article about crowdsourcing employees and their labor relations with the companies that hire them. Specifically, he emphasized the idea of both voice and exit as the two options for employees who are dissatisfied with the way they're working or the way the company is being run. The first option, voice, exists as those workers who attempt to speak out on the issues they perceive within their company, like in Amazon Mechanical Turks. The issue with this, as Feldsteiner sees it, is that because the Turks do not have the opportunity to speak face-to-face, often don't have a lot of communication, no unions, there's no central voice. Thus, when one employee does choose to speak out, they're oftentimes only acting as a single voice in a sea of others, and they're drowned out. Seeing this option, many of the employees then choose exit. They see the numerous other employees who are willing to continue working. They see the fact that they have no central voice, and they choose to exit rather than continue with a futile battle against the entire system. Feldsteiner specifically talked about the idea of being a squeaky wheel. That's the way employees see themselves when they try to speak out but have no power. They're simply making a ruckus, but there's nothing that's ever going to change. Going forward, Amazon Mechanical Turks is also linked to the idea of gig workers and their role within the U.S. economy. Noah Schreiber recently wrote a New York Times article on gig workers explaining their function within the economy. Gig workers operate similar to Turks in that they do not directly work for the company, but they're hired to do individual jobs. Now, during the Obama administration, there were sanctions placed on companies' abilities to use gig workers, but Trump has since started to repeal those sanctions. The advantage for the company is that they obviously get to save a lot of money by not having to pay workers benefits, they don't have to pay for their health care, and then the workers don't have the ability to unionize and speak out on these issues. Companies such as Uber and Lyft are good examples of companies that use gig workers. Drivers drive one time, but they're not actual Uber employees, they're simply gig workers for the company. Turks also operate in this sense. Going forward, especially with the repeal of the sanctions, it will be very interesting to see how gig workers influence the economy.